Hey Zed fam, how are all of you doing today? Welcome back to another movie review. Today, as you can probably tell from the thumbnail, title, and the picture on the screen right now, Men in Black International. Just to get it out of the way, make sure you join the Zed Discord, link in the description. Follow my Instagram at zed.gaming.movietalk. Check out Soessa Clothing, link in the description. And subscribe to my channel. You know all that. But now, let's get off starting with the good. And the main thing that comes to mind is the cast. Right off the bat, we get our little Thor Ragnarok reunion with Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, and they bring just as much chemistry to this movie as they brought to Ragnarok, and that's a really good thing. If this movie had any other two sets of actors that we didn't really care about and were just kind of boring to watch, it would take this movie a whole lot lower for me. But because we love these actors so much and they have such awesome chemistry, and they're overall just fun to see on screen, it makes this movie a lot better. Another standout for me was definitely Liam Neeson. He's always just a joy to watch in every movie he's in, and this one is no different. He brings the same kind of attitude that Tommy Lee Jones did with Agent K in this movie, in the sense that he's serious, he's been here a while, he's really respected here, and he sometimes gets fed up with the more casual characters. And then you have Rebecca Ferguson, who doesn't get a lot of screen time, but even I think she's really good in her role. Honestly, I didn't even notice it was her until I saw the cast, which means she disappears into the role. She really fits the character and did awesome. Another thing about this movie is how well it captures the tone of the original Men in Black. Right from the opening sequence feels exactly like one of those from the original movies, from the music to the production to everything. And of course, you get your classic mystery that has to be in every Men in Black movie, and I'd say that this one is probably the best mystery out of any. However, the big twist that I will not spoil was very predictable, and I saw coming from about halfway through the movie. Now, the mixed aspects of the movie for me. And the one thing that comes to mind is the plot. And the plot is very entertaining, but what kind of weighs it down for me is how familiar it feels to the original Men in Black. And that's not a bad thing. I want this movie to get the same feelings out of me that the originals got. But this is a reboot, not a remake, which means it should have a little bit of a different storyline. Even though they're going international, that really never plays into the story, and it just feels like the same plot as the first one. The other thing that is both good and bad is the humor. Of course, you have Chris Hemsworth bringing his titular, charming, likable humor, which is the same one he kind of uses for Thor and for all his different movies, and sometimes it lands, but sometimes it just falls flat. Like, it wasn't terrible or anything cringeworthy like the "what are those" joke from Black Panther, but I wasn't laughing. However, I have to say there were two jokes that really got me laughing. One with Chris Hemsworth's character and one with Rebecca Ferguson's character. I won't spoil them because they're just so good. Now, finally, let's talk about the bad. I've kind of covered most of the stuff I didn't like about this movie in the other sections, because there's not really that much that I didn't like. The things I already mentioned that I'll just go over again. The plot twist, I won't spoil it, I saw coming. The plot feels just a little too similar to the original Men in Black. Also, there's a few scenes where the pacing is just awful. The scene is dragged out way too long. We're supposed to be laughing, I think, but half the time we aren't. So the pacing is an issue, not throughout the whole movie, but there's a few scenes in particular that really stand out. Also, the action isn't amazing. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. Also, I felt Tessa Thompson's character, Molly, didn't really get a lot of development. We kind of gloss over her whole training period and don't really get to see it. It practically happens off-screen. And then while we could get a funny fish out of water thing as she goes international, we don't really get that. And she seems to be like all serious and know everything right away. She's even more serious than Hemsworth sometimes, who's a senior agent. So sometimes the character development isn't the best, and sometimes you can hear Tessa Thompson's accent slipping through. It's not a big deal, I just wanted to mention it. Now, the verdict. While this movie does have quite a few noticeable flaws that sometimes weigh it down in certain scenes, it's ultimately lifted up by its charming cast and how it emulates the tone of the original and makes it really enjoyable. While this definitely isn't my favorite Men in Black movie, I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. I feel this movie's a lot better than people are giving credit for. If you're a fan of the Men in Black franchise, I strongly suggest you see this one in theaters, but even if you're not, you don't have to watch the originals to understand this one, but if you haven't seen the originals, just wait to rent this one or whatever, and then you can watch it at your home, but I do strongly suggest you get around to watching it in some way. I give Men in Black for International an 8.5 out of 10.